Everybody, welcome back to Price Patterns. My name is Mike Fairborn. Great to be with you all today. Hey, today I want to take a look at, specifically looking at maybe some of the sectors that are also showing indications of patterns. Because if you look at specific sectors, you will find oftentimes behind the scenes, if they are showing patterns, folks, you're not going to believe it. Yes, but believe it or not, the stocks within those sectors or industries for that matter might also be showing strength. And so with that, we're going to dive into some more details in terms of looking at the markets here. I want to do an overall big perspective look at the markets as well as we dive into that. But yeah, a couple items, to look at as we go through that. And by the way, hey, I know many of you are wondering when Rachel will be back. She's still got 2 more weeks to go. So we've got a couple of weeks before we see Rachel back, but it will be here before you know it. And just want to do a quick note here and take a look at one thing. Okay, we're good. All righty. So when we look at that, so she'll be back. So 2 more weeks out, and then she'll be here. Ben will be filling in next week as well for me. And so I appreciate Ben being here. Sorry, folks, just had to pull up the chat there. It went down on me. But we're joined in the chat by Ben Watson, a great friend of mine. Been in the markets for a very long time and very knowledgeable. Great to have him on board. Welcome to each of you joining us here. We've got Cecile, Richard, and many others here. Good to have you on board, Riceberg, Austin, and Mighty Mouse. With that, folks, I'm really looking forward to looking at some of these price patterns that are showing up in the markets today, and basically some of the stocks that aren't moving that would be maybe potentially fitting into price patterns as well. So let's hit some disclosures to get going here. Information here is for general information purposes only, should not be considered an individualized recommendation or endorsement of any personalized investment advice. Now, the paper money software application is for education purposes only as well. Investing does involve risk, including the loss of principal. Okay, finally here, there are risks associated with investing in dividend-paying stocks, including but not limited to the risk that stocks may reduce or stop paying dividends altogether. Now, I wanted to quickly note, too, that short options could be assigned at any time up to expiration, regardless of the in-the-money amount. There's no guarantee that execution of a stop order will be at or near the stop price, and past performance is no guarantee future results. By the way, just a quick note, too. I just wanted to state here while we're on it, options carry a high level of risk, are not suitable for all investors. Now, having said that, let's dive into our markets here, folks. And you can see that I've got markets kind of set up into a range-bound area so that I could be notified. Just wanted to note here that we've got kind of a range-bound area. And folks, what's interesting about this too is I've been talking about it for a couple of different classes here. But the fact is that if you break above that level, it could be a big level, folks. That is 7,000, right? It's a big number. It's definitely held us down for a little bit. But conversely, the 6,800, a couple hundred points lower, has been a pretty good support level. So resistance and support, very, very tight range. We're kind of in the middle range here, right between that level, sort of a no man's land area. But if we can get above there, just a quick note, I mean, we could see prices potentially spike above here and run. Many of you do look at, let's say, the volume profile. We don't get the volume profile on the S&P 500 index. We get it on the futures. We also get it on there's an ETF for the S&P 500 as well, where you can see it. But there's no volume here. And so if you break above here and you've been holding it for a while, you could see some moves. So what I'm getting at here is bullish price patterns, or even bearish too. I mean, we got to look at the downside as well. But if we find any companies out here that have been trending up and that also have a little bit of a dip, sort of like the market does right there, yeah, you could say it dipped. It's not like it might be a longer term flag that we're kind of in the process of developing here, or have developed. But this little minor pullback on many companies within the S&P or the NASDAQ 100 might look a lot like this, with the possibility of a bounce. I do want to look at a number of bull flags today because they do fit sort of that swing trade time frame. And even if we were to get a bounce like that and the market does break up higher, it could be interesting. We're also seeing some companies and some of the sectors, I'll pull that up next, as we dive into it. It is sector, sector grid right here. In fact, here is a sector. Let's just do the sector grid initially, and these are just the actual charts. And so this is every single sector in the S&P 500, and you'll notice within these, there are a few sectors that do have a little bit of that flag type formation that we're seeing as well, that have kind of pulled back recently with the markets. Case in point right here, I'm gonna go ahead and just maximize this right now. Let's go up top and we'll click down this and we'll maximize the sell. Okay, well, we've seen this happen with energy, which has barely been kind of strong as of late. And you can see over here, a little bit of a pullback. Here we are again. Now, this trend has been really quite nice in terms of the strength and consistency of it. In other words, when we look at the consistency of this particular sector, and of course, that means all of the companies that are within this group, we could look at the companies within this group. Once we're getting like a 1 day follow through here, like here, or even like we don't have a Cahold yet, but maybe if we get a Cahold, that has in fact started to move to the upside. And so all I'm getting at, folks, is there could be a fair number of stocks that could be sitting within this industry for us to take a look at. And that's really kind of building kind of your pattern approach based upon a top down. In other words, if the sector is strong, then you might also see that strength continue into, the stocks as well. There's just plenty of stocks that are going to be strong like this too. Again, here's another one, materials. So I know materials is kind of bouncing again today, but materials pulling back. Just a ton of these little flag patterns, and many of them too. Many flags, and then also with that, you're getting the price projections as well coming in. Now, a price projection on the entire material sector could be something like this, right? In terms of let me flip this back down here real quick just to kind of show you. I'll have to redraw it, won't I? Yep. All right, there we go. So here we go. So this could be like the flag, the pole portion of the flag. There's the flag. We don't know if we're going to hold today once again, in the sector here, but this just represents all of them. And then you've got this run right there. So that would be like what we refer to in the swing trade class as a T2 target. That's the full length of the run here. We've been seeing these pretty much along the board. Look at that. These targets being hit. So this can be a helpful guide. A lot of times, folks, and this is what I find interesting when you look at the sector or the industry specifically. The key point here is it oftentimes takes a lot more than just, let's say a short-term number of buyers and sellers coming out to really influence an entire sector. A lot of times when you see a sector go up, it oftentimes has to do with the fundamentals. I'll just put fund for short, the fundamentals. To get a whole group to go up, there might be something fundamentally based behind that sector or industry. And our job is to find out, hey, which of these is actually moving up? What stocks are moving up and which industries within these sectors are moving up. And so oftentimes, not every time, but when you get a fundamental move, a lot of times it's not just sort of a quick bull flag pattern and the whole thing's done or whatever. They can be pretty extensive because the sector keeps building out. There's more growth. And sometimes traders will come in here to kind of get a glimpse of that and sort of build on it a little bit. Now, you're seeing some of that here too. Consumer staples. I'm going to highlight this first, and I'm going to hit some of these. And then we're going to dive in. I'm going to show you how to dive in, and we're going to spot some of the specific energy companies as well that have been moving. But you'll notice over here, there's been a flag pattern here that unfolded and a really strong move. Now, again, we're back into a little of a sort of a pennant type move over here. But when we get into this range, it's very much like another, sort of a flag pattern. So this could be one we could keep an eye on. Pop back here and you can take a look at it. Let me share this with everybody too, just so you have it. I'll share this grid right now. Many of you, I think, do. It's not a think script, and think scripts aren't guaranteed for timeliness or accuracy, but it is not a think script, but this is your sector grid right there for S&P 500 sector grid is what I should have noted, but there it is. So you guys have got it again. Once you get it, just go up top under the setup, click on as I've said, that open shared item, paste that in, preview, and boom, you just import it, and then it will be over here in your grid charts. And there's mine right there, right? Sector grid. Okay. Some other big moves just to keep an eye on that could be price patterns coming forward. Look at the spike here. What can follow that? Well, we've talked about it, and that could be a flag pattern. Just watch this pullback. So real estate, what's interesting about real estate, particularly with a fundamental perspective, just to park in the back of your mind, there could be an expectation of interest rate cuts coming in. And if we do get some interest rate cuts with a new Fed chair, oftentimes this sort of a group can be impacted by that. Just as a quick note there for you, it can be impacted positively. Historically, that's been the case. I mean, nothing's 100%, but that's just something to keep in mind. And I don't know if that's why we're getting the run right now, is in anticipation of those interest rate cuts, because it could be. Now, folks, that was a real estate investment trust, and so I just want to read this just real quick. As we looked at it, I didn't think about it, but investing in REITs may pose additional risks such as real estate industry risk, interest rate risk, and liquidity risk, just as a side note. Okay. Well, having said that, let's do this. Let's take a look at some stocks now before we dive into any future. I'm going to go any further. I'm going to dive into my 10, 30, and 5 charts. And I'm going to start off here looking at, let's see here. There we go. So this is a company I actually sent this out. The idea was, when I sent it out, I was looking at it from your guys' perspective. For this class I'd be teaching. I'm just going to go over here and just show you the one I did send out. It's just right here. As you can see it, this is McCormick. And with McCormick, a couple of different things. Now, when we look at this, just a couple of quick notes I wanted to state on here as we look at McCormick in terms of patterns. Double bottom, okay? We had also a break above a longer term resistance level. It may now be support. We've got a 200-day moving average fitting in right there too. So it's one of these where you're kind of like, yeah, is it turning into a potential flag pattern? It could be, but there's a couple of different things. The bottom of it started with a double bottom, right? You had a double bottom, and then you took out this major sort of let's put it this way. It's an extended resistance level, and now you're maybe just flagging off the top of it, but you've got a 200-day moving average that you've just barely been able to break above for like the first year. It touched off it here, and could it bounce from here? There was a lot of strength in that pull. If it does, you could see a follow through here, right? That's the idea of a potential bounce. Now, you might be looking for a hold or whatever, but I'm just going to pull this back down real quick and show you guys one thing here, and that is MCK. Oh, what's it doing today? Okay, so it's just kind of flat right at that level. But that is the possibility of maybe a longer term change. There's like a weekly chart. Quick note on the weekly. I'm just going to throw this out. You did come off a double top and a double bottom, and there's a lot of symmetry to this move over here. It kind of comes up, down right at that level. I don't know if there's a pattern for that, but I will say that we are getting the possibility of a potential flag pattern forming right there after a pretty sharp move. Now, the last time we bounced off those levels, that's exactly what we did right there. You guys get a lot more in this class than you would have gotten just by looking at that one X post on X there, but that was just a side note for you guys, so you had it anyways. Okay, well, just a quick note on that too. I'm just going to pull this up. If you guys want to take a look at anything else we've got, by the way, Ben Watson, CS. Here's my handle right there, Mike Fairborn CS. I will post these throughout the day, and I've got a couple more stocks to post as well when we're done that might be around sort of longer term moving averages, things like that. Okay, and Ben's got that posted. Awesome. Thank you, Ben. Oh, perfect. Okay, Ben's got that last one too. All right. Well, on that, everybody, let's go over here and let's go into the next trade. Now, we were just looking at some of the consumer staples, kind of showing us a little bit of a flag. Anybody looking at Pepsi? You can see Pepsi's stronger, a little bit stronger than consumer cyclicals, but there is your Pepsi right there. Now, we did come off of a prior flag over here, and we get a little bit of a follow-through day as well right now. Here's kind of a move up and then a pullback right there. Okay, as you guys can see it. Now here's the rally that comes up and yeah, here, a bounce, possibly right there. We don't know, but there is a bit of a follow through day. Now, one of the things that some traders will do is they might look on the flag pattern at a couple of different targets. Now, the first target, we talk about this in the swing trade class, folks, and that's right there, 170. That's referred to as a T1 target. Basically, you're just trading up to this particular level right here. This bounce up top, and that would be a target. Now, that's not too bad from where we are. It's about, I would say approximately a 6-point move up to the T1 target. Now, obviously, if we're doing a T2, it could be, and I'll use a different color here, it could be a significantly larger move. Sometimes traders will stick with something like this, at least maybe a portion of their trades that they could be looking at here. So let's do this. I'm going to do a couple of them. I want to show you a stock and then maybe a longer dated option as well to kind of mix things a little bit up. I want to show you guys something here. But in the meantime, a lot of times, if we see a move like this, we're maybe looking to put those stop levels maybe below the recent level. And then, the target, we can look at a target up top here, an initial target. I'll show you that right now. We'll kind of mix this up a little bit. It isn't a fairly expensive stock. It's at $160. So let's just do a quick comparison here. If we were to do a trade on Pepsi right now, playing a stronger consumer cyclicals sector, consumer staples sector. Okay. OCL bracket order. I'm going to keep this at 100. Sort of good till cancel orders over here. Let's set this up. I'm going to just intentionally, we'll put it at about 170. And then I'll put this down at maybe about 162 through here. Okay. Let's just look at this right now and see what we've got. So the buying power effect on this is about a little over 8,000. Park that in the back of your mind as we look at this. About 8,000. This is the rest of the trade setup here. We'll go ahead and send this on through paper trade. And what I wanted to do was just, once I have this in place now, just go ahead and drag and drop that stop down here. And the other thing I can do, I can keep it near 170, or I'm going to put it just maybe a titch higher, right about there, whatever that number is. I'm just using a visual of the chart to adjust this. Again, this would be a T1 target as opposed to the T2. In other words, the flag is just up to this level, but you've got it in place. The risk-reward relationship, potential risk-reward, it's not too bad. Your stop's down here, but then your target is close to a 2-to-1, but it's a very, very tight range. But you're looking at that follow through. Okay, by the way, this one too, fairly good. This is where my eyes naturally drag into a fairly good money flow as well. You know how we hit a new high on price? Well, according to the money flow, looking at accumulation of shares, got to say a positive there as well. RSI showing strength. That was above this level and cleared some prior highs. So buyers, according to the money flow, definitely came in on a move like this. Now, if we're to back out here, if we wanted to find a way to kind of leverage using maybe some longer term options, what we could do is we could come over to the trade tab, and I'm just going to do this. I showed this a little bit yesterday, but here's like here's a June, actually, a June contract. It's out a little further in time, but you'll notice over here on Pepsi, the spreads are actually let's see, on the, they're okay. They're okay on the call side. What I'm looking at is an in the money here. And I'm going to use this. I'm going to look at a delta right here. This is an example. These deltas. Now, a delta again represents this change right here. You're going to see this impact the option, the call options, the spread here, based upon a $1 change in that underlying stock. So for every $1 it increases, you're getting a little bit more movement as you go deeper in the money, as you could see that. Oh, I'm on the wrong side. Sorry, right there. To the point, folks, where it starts to look like, what's that? A 1. And what does that look like? It's not the same as stock, but it's moving like, a $1 move. It's moving basically point for point if it gets that deep in the money. what we're choosing here is something very close to that level. That is a 68 or like a 0.7. So we're looking for a move in here that's fairly strong with the move of Pepsi. It's a 155 over here. Now, if I took a look at that, and let's just say we get our expectation here of a, well, let's say we can look at both, actually. So we can look at a 6-point move, and we can also look at, because I'm going to do a theoretical price, I'm going to do another move over here too. So this really ran up about, I'll just say about 25 points. Be a little bit conservative, and there's your 25 about right there. So about 185-ish, about 185. And so from where we're at there, it's about 20 points, right? About 20 points higher. So I'm going to do a 6-point move and a 20-point move, and I'm going to give this guy, because we're using a longer dated option, I'm going to give us all the way out here to, let's say, like even mid, gosh, we're trying to give it maybe plenty of time to make a move like it originally did here. If it runs this way, look at this, I'm going to try to set it up in time. You can see, even if we were to give it out here, even like mid-March sometime, we're trying to give it more time, but we are giving it a lot more time because we're choosing 120 days out. So this is kind of taking kind of a little bit of a longer move here, but let me show you this. So if I come over here and well, before I do that, let's do this first. I'm going to go up top into the Theo price. I'm going to use it. Yeah, we're going to go at least to the 20th here of March. Here is your 6-point move. I'm going to keep this volatility adjustment the same. But having done that, we can come over here now and look at the Theo price. It'll give us a sense of where this can be if it just ran up to that first T1 target. Where did it run, folks? Right there. So 1734 from, let's just say we're able to pick this up maybe at 1380, the mid-range or so. And it runs up to 1733 or so, right? Just above 17. That would be your move there. Now, what would this look like, though, in terms of that buying power effect? We saw the other one just over $8,000 on an expensive stock. Take a look at this over here. Just one time, let's look at it. So it's quite a ways away from 8,000 and change. It's about 1,400 for the buying power effect. And one quick note, it only has to make it up to, well, the break even is 69, right? 169 right there. So the break even, and how long do we have for break even? Wow, we've got some time here. We got a lot more days. I'm going to go 120 to the right so we can get that June in there. I didn't hit, what did I not do? Okay, let's do that again. 120 bars to the right. Click OK. Didn't do it. Now it did. Had to back out for some reason. So here we are in June. The break even on this trade, it has to get just below that 170 by there approximately. That's break even. Do you think we have enough time to get there? Some traders would say that's plenty of time if it's going to break out, right? It's not a big move. We're banking on it, kind of coming up here. But even the point here is that's a lot of time. But because we're going out further in time, you're just going to have a benefit of slower time decay, especially in those first few months. Okay, now if it's the bigger move, real quick, and then we're going to go into a lot of different trades over here, but I just want to show you this because I don't know if you guys had seen using these longer dated options. The bigger move was, if we got a T2 move, folks, that was 25 points. So what does that theta look like right there? Excuse me, the Theo price, 34. So clearly more than a double here if it were to hit that level. Now, on a stock trade, is it more than a double? No. A stock trade, we buy 100 shares and it goes up, it's 25 points, so 2,500. Well, what's the percent move right there? About 15%. It's about right there. Sorry, about 12% move, a little over 12% move, 12, 13% move. But you can see over here, trying to use an option that has slower time decay over time, it could be helpful for you. And by the way, what was that break even, folks? It's the same break even. It only has to go to here by June 6 points up by June to be at a break even. So to help, counteract, you should say, that up move to counteract the theta decay over that time frame. So that's a consideration as well. I'm going to put them both on, and I'm just going to both of these trades on just so you can see. And I am going to set this up this way. So I'm going to go right click, and then I promise we're done with this. I just wanted to highlight it for you. Make sure you go good till cancel. We're on this contract as well. We have a really good idea as to what that would run to, right? We just looked at it. The price would be about 34 and change. I just put 34 here to the upside. And downside here, I'm just going to knock off a couple points below that level. I had that level. I didn't quite see it, though. But there is, we're setting up here. Okay, sending that on through. Okay, I got a 1385. So not like a great spread, but it's okay. In fact, it's a little bit tighter here right now. But do you guys see what I did here? And you see some of the benefits of maybe using longer dated options as well relative to stock on some of these price patterns that might have bigger expected moves. I should say, I'm sorry, a bigger expected price projection, because it's a longer flag based on your own individual projections. We'll see, because if this were to run, it gets us right up near that interesting 200 level. All right. Well, I wanted to highlight that for you guys so you can see it. Maybe you haven't seen that before, but there are ways to effectively narrow that time decay just by going out a little bit further, because it's a lot slower if you're going out 4 months, particularly in those first couple of months, which is exactly where you might anticipate that swing trade, that swing or flag pattern to unfold, right? But yet you're still getting something close to a dollar for dollar move. It wasn't quite there. It was about 68 cents on the delta we chose. Okay, hopefully you found that informative. That was the plan. Now we're just going to hit price patterns. Okay, KDP. Another one that kind of falls into the group here. A little bit of a pullback to, this is like coming up right to resistance though, right? You can see a little bit of maybe a cup and handle here. The one thing with this Keurig Dr. Pepper is we've been getting these higher lows, similar highs. It's really kind of like an not like that though. Sort of a bit of an ascending triangle. But folks, what I wanted to really break down here, and I've got to reset this time frame so you can all see it. But back to the time, yeah, we got it back to 25 bars. Just messes up our chart. There you go. You see the flag pattern now, the possible flag pattern. You see it? Right there, coming off those highs, flagging back down, the possibility of a what, and where would that be retracing to? Well, we'll use these because we like to get actual numbers in here. I'm going to show you a couple because there are two in here that are kind of interesting. If that's a cup and handle and we break above that range, well, we've got this as a potential target. And I'm just going to duplicate this guy and pull it right over here to show it to you where that would be. That's a target. There's also a swing trade, which is going to be slightly less of a target. It's going to be like this. I'll just use a different color here to show you guys. Here we go. So like this, up, take this price range right there, and I'm just eyeballing it here, folks, but hopefully that's close. It's going to be just slightly under your cup and handle target, standard target right there. And this, of course, is the flag target. Notice what we're doing here, the differences. The flag is the measurement off of the lows. Now I'm anticipating that'd be the low. We don't know if it will. And then this one's measured higher, but obviously the cup and handle, which we could be, sometimes it's a dead giveaway too on the cup and handle, because the last portion of that cup and handle, folks, what is the handle? The handle is a flag. It's a flag. Let me show it right there. You see it? It's just that it's built around a rounded type bottom, or also referred to as a saucer bottom right there. And so again, what's happening here? We didn't forget it already. I know that. I know we didn't forget this already. Actually, I kind of threw a lot of option stuff in there, but hey, one thing we wanted to know, folks, it was built on a stronger sector move too. The sector was showing some strength, and we saw it going like this. And by the way, we've seen some rotations out there in the market recently, and this has been one of them. The staples have been one of them. I have to say too, very strong as well in terms of, I mean, look at this. See the money flow down here? A good quick gauge, you know, are we being tracked up by volume or not? According to the money flow, we are, and some traders will look at that. All right, let's do this. MOS, we're totally going to shift gears here now, looking at materials. As you recall, that was another key sector in terms of strength. Will it follow through? That's what we're looking at. We're trying to build on that strength because right now, the market had a little bit of a pullback. The sector certainly did with the trend, and now these stocks are with the trend. You see it right there? Right there. Prior highs. Ooh, let me drag it through. With a straight line, that is. There we go. It's like this. But anyways, you're getting this high, this range very close, but there's your breakout and just kind of a pause. Now, some traders will obviously, they like to wait for that. They like to wait for the cup and handle, actually. Excuse me, the hold. Cup and handle, yeah, that was our last section. This is still back into a flag pattern. Let's do those projections right now. We're going to get it full screen here. There we go. Look at this. So here we go. So price pattern projection for the flag, just like this. Click it. I'm going to show you a different way to do it too if you like this way instead. Activate it. Just draw it right over there. If that's our low, that's our potential target range. And I do want to put a trade on here as well. It's kind of a lower price stock. And there are earnings coming up, so that's something to clearly be mindful of. But we're starting to run a little bit ahead of earnings. You guys, I do look at a lot of different sectors. I do fundamentals as well. It's hard to say. There have been some companies that have reported already, and they have run, but we don't know if this group will run. Does that make sense? We can just say that some of these fertilizer commodity, it's kind of a commodity on top of a commodity. They have had positive results. We don't know if these guys will. I will say this, you can keep an eye on this for insight because these guys, this is CF. They didn't report yet, did they? Oh, that's just their estimate. Okay, they report today. So CF reports today in the same sort of sector. I'm talking about nitrogen and I know there's phosphates in there as well, some others as well. But let's set this up. Okay, let's set this up as a trade over here too. I'm going to go ahead and use this this existing support level that goes back to here. I'm going to go ahead and use this as a potential stop. So just below this level right here. And then we'll have our target up here just above 33. So let's do that right now. I'm going to right click, buy custom OCO bracket again. First things first, good tail cancel, good tail cancel. Let's put this up it was like 33, you know what, 33.10. Fine. We'll put this down about 28. Let's take a look at this. This is just 100 shares. Confirm. Let's take a look at what we've got now. That's our trade. Again, buying power effect a little bit light because it's a little bit, it's not as pricey as that other one was. There's our fill right there. Again, it is based upon, I won't write the whole thing out this time, but a sector type move. Okay, and we're trying to build on that through a top-down analysis in this class. Market, sector, even industry, and then of course down to the stock. Now, if I wanted to see what was in the materials in the S&P 500 that was moving, because we looked at it right over here, and we said, yeah, that's our sector grid. We saw that there was some good strength coming in this area, and it's been flagging this whole time out of a long consolidation here, right? Materials. Well, what companies specifically in the S&P 500, because this is the S&P 500, which ones have been moving? ScanTab's probably our best bet on something like that for sure. Scan in the S&P 500, scan up top, Stock Hacker subtab, scan in, just went down here to the public folder. Boom, right there. And next thing I want to do is just intersect that with that industry, which is, by the way, when I choose the top one, when you have a collection of the industries, it's referred to as the sector. So when I say industry and I'm selecting, I could look at any individual one, but if I'm choosing the top one, it's all those industries. So there we go. And how many do we have in here? 25 out of the S&P 500. So what made up this chart right there, what we looked at it a second ago, what made up that sector chart, folks, were these companies here. Now, this is a 5-day percent. This is built in to the platform, and we can use this. If you guys like the colored one, I can share that with you as well. This is one I just built in ThinkScript. It's just colored, so I just like the colored one. It's a little bit more eye-catching and just easier to kind of see in a lot of ways. I'll just show it to you. That's our 1 week. So what's been performing over the past week here? And you can see to the downside. And why do I say this? Well, I like to compare it with today's change, because what happened over this last week? This is where we're taking the price pattern, and I'm going to draw the price pattern right here for you. Okay? Over the past week, some of these guys pulled back. And what does that look like? It looks like if we'd run up, that's the pullback. This is the kind of the flag of the move. But yet today, they're moving up. See them? I'll even circle them. Now these guys are just on fire up here. We haven't even looked at this group yet. Okay, we haven't looked at this group. But take a look at this right here. So the ones we're looking at: commodity. Especially chemicals, same thing. But then there's your ag and fertilizer, right? In fact, that is Mosaic as I look at it. But you can see them in there. Some of these look like a flag, and I just drawn the price pattern literally next to the performances up top here, so you can see it. Okay, so this is what's in that group, and that can be helpful when you come over here and you start looking into these specific, there it is right there, sectors, right, that we were looking at. You know what companies, you just have to move 2 tabs to the left to find them specifically. Then you can just look and see how they're doing, right? Now, a quick note too, if you guys ever wanted to pull this over and look at it quickly, which is, I'm all about doing it quickly. Believe me, I really am. Go over here, right over this box here. I'm going to show you where I'm at. Right there. Okay. On that box, click on it and you can save this group, which is just a good idea to do. I mean, if you like to know that, if you like the sectors, like for example, I can do this S&P 500 materials. And now I can go to it anytime. I'm going to have it saved here. So now I put it over here, and all I need to do is simply come on, watch list, drop down, and I'm going to go right into it. Where are you? Sectors. Okay, so S&P 500 sectors. S&P 500 is going to be up top because I got the and in there, and you guys can see I've been building these out. There it is, materials right there. That's my entire group. And so a quick way now, if I want to look at these patterns and base it on the change over here, I can flip this up or down and just take a look at, we'll do this instead. Don't worry, I'm going to send that out so I can share that with you guys. But there you go. Maybe some flags in here. Oh. How many flags do we see? A lot. That was that CF, that's Nucor, you got steel, that's Freeport-McMoRan, that's 90% copper, 10% gold. It's actually about 85-15. DuPont's been on an absolute tear. Chemical company, right? This is one of the leaders in those chemical companies. We were just looking at Mosaic that might be a little bit lagging, perhaps, but now we've got a paper trade on it. We'll see what happens here. Let me share that with you guys so you have it. Okay, let's go over here. And in case you guys want that, yes, right here. Let's do that. What did I do with it? It's gone. Oh, a scan tab. Wait a second. You know what? Yeah, it was under the scan. I'll just pull it up again. Wait, you can get it in any spot you want, but let's just let's see if I go customize, edit, and then I can share it right over there. Okay, again, folks, ThinkScripts aren't guaranteed for timeliness or accuracy, but as long as the data that's flowing through that into that, we have good data here, but that's going through that ThinkScript, then the ThinkScript should be fine as it comes out. But we just want to let you know it's not guaranteed for timeliness or accuracy. There you go. I just put it in right now, so you guys have it. All right, get a little color to it there for you. And let's continue with some price patterns here. We are mixing it up a little bit today. We did look at we looked at MKC. Now here is MCK. The one thing I've got is a couple of holds with the flag pattern too. Now that's a big pull of the flag, a big pull, and there's the flag coming down. That was above the low of this bar. We closed above it this here. It's not this bar, but we did get above it over here. So not MKC, MCK instead in the last one here that we've got. Also another one that's been quite strong. There is your flag. Now this flag, it's a little bit tricky to see, but you came up over here and you rested right near that prior high. Dang it, right there. And there is another kind of a follow-through day right there. So could this get ready to run? That's the question. We are post-earnings on it, though, as well. A couple in the tech group that we want to look at. Intel. Okay, Intel's been consolidating for a little bit here, holding very, very close, folks, to that 45 level, as you can see right there. So very close to 45, prior high, prior gap up, and testing very close to testing right there as well. Intel, a little bit of a pullback here. Now, what flag am I looking at, you might ask? Well, that'd be a great question, because there's one that I wouldn't necessarily be looking at, which is this smaller one, although you could look at that, taking us up to maybe a T1 target up here. But basically, the flag pattern is right here. This is all a consolidation. That's just earnings volatility, and it really turned it into much, folks, of a pennant type pattern over here. Do you see the pennant? Down, sideways. So that price projection, again, this is one's a little bit higher because you've got a bigger pull of the run here. And it is this high. Off of this leg, if prices start to bounce off, not this leg, is in terms of your projection. So getting close to approximately a 65 handle there on Intel. Okay, which has had, by the way, what do you think of the trend behind the scenes? Pretty good trend here. Let's hit one more on the low side. No kidding. This is on the high end. Look at this. You bounced up, and there's some prior highs right there. So lows, a little bit of recovery, but keep in mind there are earnings right there as well. You guys, today we looked at stocks. We looked at options as well. We looked at longer dated options. We did a longer dated option here that had... it was a little bit more affordable in that sense. We talked about how taking it out farther in time, we added to a trade like this, which some you guys might look at. It might resonate with you. A quick note on that too is I did teach a class on that yesterday with kind of more, instead of just one example, there were full details that we put behind it, into it, I should say. And I just had it titled this, Make Time Your Ally, which is making it a little bit easier to deal with as prices have if they go sideways for a little bit, as you're waiting for a move to get out. It gives you enough time, because like with a stock, right, you don't have that time decay by itself. There's not like a set expiration date for stock, which is totally different. This does have an expiration date, but it kind of pushes it back a little bit. So I'll go ahead and post this in here if you guys want to check it out. There's the strategy behind it here, and then some more insights in terms of the theoretical price and whatnot. But this was it right there, swing trade. All right, well, everybody, that is what we had for you today. Hopefully you found this informative, and I believe Ben will be here. Yeah, Ben will be here next week, and then I'll hit the final week before Rachel is back. But everybody, have a great rest of the day. And again, I'll go through ahead and take a look at any questions, comments you might have as well. Any topic requests for next week or the week after, I can pass those on to Ben as well. But good being with you all, folks. See you next time. Thanks so much.